Okay, so we're ready to start. Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Meet the Candidates Forum for the Office of County Supervisor, Saratoga Springs. There are 3 candidates on the ballot for 2 seats. All 3 candidates on the ballot were invited, and all 3 are present. This event was organized by the League of Women Voters of Saratoga County. It will be recorded and posted on the League's website. League rules require that if a candidate forum is recorded, it must be broadcast or rebroadcast in its entirety. My name is Nancy Tudor, and I am a member of the League of Women Voters, Schenectady County. However, I do live in Clifton Park, and I will be your moderator tonight. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan, volunteer political organization dedicated to the informed and responsible participation of citizens in government. The League never supports or opposes any political party or candidate. That has been the League policy since 1920. Membership is open to anyone 16 and over, so please consider joining your local League. We have received questions from the public in advance. They were reviewed by the League members and selected to be representative and to avoid redundancy. Questions of a personal nature are never included. None of the candidates have seen the questions before tonight. Candidates, this is your opportunity to let voters know your stance on these topics and how you will address the issues facing this community. Please do not waste valuable time tearing down or labeling your opponent. Deal with the facts. In your closing statements, absolutely no zingers or gotcha moments. Please do not put your opponent on the spot with no chance for a reply. We have a timer for this evening's event who will be seen by the candidates on screen. The timer will hold up signs for the candidates to glance at to let them know how much time they have left. Green means you have 1 minute left, yellow means you have 30 seconds, and red means stop. Time is up. If you continue to speak, you will be interrupted. The name of the 3 candidates for the office of County Supervisor, Saratoga Springs, in alphabetical order are Sarah Berger, George Enger, and Manita Sungvi. Now it is time to hear their 2-minute opening statements. We have drawn lots to determine the order. The first to speak is George Enger.
Thank you, Nancy. Well, first I want to thank Matt Beach for encouraging me to run in his place and take over the great work for Saratoga Springs that he has performed for the last 18 years. For those of you that don't know me, I spent 30 years as a successful business executive in a variety of industries and several different companies. I have lived in this great city for 20 years, and I'm very proud to have a wonderful daughter in the 7th grade at Maple Avenue Middle School. The key to my business success is that I am a collaborator. I listen more than I talk, which leads me to find common ground with a wide range of stakeholders, many of whom may think that the other side is wrong purely based on label or assumption. I have experience talking to all sides, and in this politically difficult environment, I am very proud to be leading a nonpartisan campaign of finding solutions and common ground together. Now, together is probably the most important word I've said in this opening. None of us can solve any of these problems alone. And none of us can do this without speaking to and deeply understanding the needs of all the stakeholders in a particular issue. County supervisor is by nature a collaborative job. No supervisor is going to get cooperation of the county by demanding it. 2 of us here tonight will be your next representatives to the county. We will need to cooperate not only with each other, but with the 21 other supervisors, many of whom think Saratoga Springs doesn't need county help. I have the credentials, the experience, and the demeanor to forge relationships and deliver results for Saratoga Springs so it can continue to be a prosperous, safe, and the best place to live, work, and raise families. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Next is Sarah Berger.
Good evening. First, thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this webinar and to the candidates that are here today participating. I'd also like to thank everyone that's tuned in from the public and that has submitted questions for us to answer. I'm Sarah Berger, and I'm running to be your next Saratoga Springs County Supervisor. By way of background, I'm a proud native Saratogian, graduate of Saratoga Springs High School. I'm an attorney, lobbyist, and small business owner. I've worked in private practice my entire career. I've owned and operated my own law firm since October of 2018, both here and in Boston. I represent individuals and businesses throughout Saratoga County and beyond in a wide array of matters, but I'm most known as a labor and employment law attorney. I carry with me broad experience that I feel is relevant to this position, not just within my own businesses, but other organizations, charitable, professional, and political. I served as the former chair of the Saratoga Springs Democratic Committee from 2019 to 2021. And I believe that today, in this polarizing political climate, we need to turn down the rhetoric and put people before politics to get the people's business done. I pride myself on my ability to work collaboratively with others, regardless of their political affiliation, find common ground, and bring about meaningful change. Now I'm running to be your next Saratoga Springs County Supervisor because I believe with these skills, experience, and relationships, we could work together in Saratoga County to keep our taxes low, strengthen public safety and social services, and ensure Saratoga Springs gets its fair share. I'm very proud that my candidacy is broadly supported by the Saratoga Springs Democratic Committee, Eleanor's Legacy, Capital Women, One Saratoga, the Saratoga County Young Democrats, among others, and former Mayor and Supervisor Joanne Yepsen. I'm honored to be here this evening and look forward to answering your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah. Next is Manita Sangvi.
Thank you, League, and all of those viewing in. My name is Minita Sangvi, and I'm running to be your next supervisor representing Saratoga Springs on our county board. I'm currently serving my second term as the Saratoga Springs on the City Council as the Commissioner of Finance. And before that, I served 5 years on a Saratoga Springs Public Library Board. I'm the only candidate with a proven track record of real results delivered in elected office. I've passed balanced budgets, opened a third fire station, hired 60 new firefighters, created more affordable housing, created more bike lanes, more sidewalks. We renovated the skate park, built a new bike park. We collected 12 years of delinquent taxes. We created our first ever 24/7 low barrier homeless shelter. I introduced participatory budgeting and all of this while maintaining the city's AA+ credit rating. Apart from this, I'm also a tenured business professor at Skidmore College. I've got a bachelor's in accounting, an MBA, a PhD. I've worked in industry and academia. I'm a proud mom of a 10-year-old. My wife works in the public school system where I'm a proud immigrant. We are a proud union family, a proud LGBTQ family, and we just adopted 3 kittens. So if you see a cat somewhere around, it's one of our new kittens. And I am also honored to be endorsed by Eleanor's Legacy, Capital Women, by New York League of Conservation Voters, Saratoga County Dems, they see Blue, LPAC, Eleanor's, did I say Eleanor's Legacy, Planned Parenthood. I am the gun sense candidate by Moms Demand Action. And just today got the endorsement from New American Leaders. I'm honored to continue working on important issues for our city at the county and hope to earn your vote today.
Thank you. Thank you, Manita. Okay, so now it's time for questions. You will have 1.5 minutes to respond to each question. You are not required to respond. You may pass if you wish. You are each allowed 2 opportunities to request an additional minute during the Q&A session for a rebuttal or to expand on one of your answers. Please hold up your hand and wait to be acknowledged by me before you begin your extra minute. This can only be done again during the Q&A session. It may not be used for your closing statement. Remember not to interrupt each other. The timers and I will keep track of the extra minute used. Questions will be directed to the candidates in rotation so that each candidate gets a chance to respond first. Feel free to ask me to repeat the question as needed. So let's start with questions, and we're going to start with the first one. We're going to go in order of George, and then Manita, and then Sarah. Okay, so the first question. What committees would you request to be on, given that committees have the ability to kill any legislation that the city may want to move forward? And that will start with George.
Yes, I've met with Phil Barrett on committee assignments several times. My passion is with trails and open space, but I don't think that's the most important for for representing the city to the county. So I've talked to him about being on the Law and Finance Committee, as well as Public Safety Committee and Health and Human Services Committees. Those are the three that I would lobby for, and based on my relationship with Phil, I'm highly confident that I could be assigned to all of them.
Okay. Next is Manita.
Hi. So I think it's important to understand how county works. First, your committee focuses on an issue, votes on an issue, and then eventually most issues end up at the Law and Finance Committee, where again it is voted upon, and then eventually at the Board of Supervisors, where the Board of Supervisors votes. So it's important that Saratoga Springs has a voice in these committees. I would love to work on economic development. I'm a business professor. I've worked in business. I think it's a key area. We are seeing, for example, sewer systems in South Broadway. This is going to be a big boost for economic development in Saratoga Springs. So I would love to work on economic development. I would love to work on law and finance. I know that's where Supervisor Matt Veach is right now. And some of the other things that I would love to work on is in environmental initiatives. So I would love to be on the Trails Open Spaces Committee, the Airport Committee, because again, I think that's a critical part of economic development. And finally, the Health and Human Services Committee, because we need to be doing more, especially addressing homelessness, as well as child abuse and elder abuse in Saratoga County.
Okay, thank you. And now we have Sarah.
Thank you. And thank you, Manita, for giving the summary about the structure. And I think that's very important. And one point I want to add to that is that in the committee structure in Saratoga County, it's one supervisor, one vote. We only get a weighted vote at the full board. So we're all equal when we're in committee, and that very much does control how things get to the floor of the full board. And the law, as Manita had said, in order for it to get to the full board, it's got to go through Law and Finance. So of course, Law and Finance being the most important committee, I'd say would be certainly my top priority. And as somebody that has experience working through tight committees such as this with the state legislature, I would feel that my experience would be highly relevant to such a committee and as an attorney as well. One committee that I think is really important is building and facilities. That hasn't been mentioned. I'm aware that Saratoga County is looking to move their county buildings potentially out of Ballston Spa. I know as an attorney that goes down to Ballston Spa a lot, we've outgrown our facilities and they're old, and from a sustainable perspective, they're not sustainable. And we need to be looking at climate smart buildings and building smart for our future. So I'd be very interested in participating on that, as well as economic development. As somebody that works in the racing and gaming industry as a lobbyist and represents many of our interrelated businesses.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next question, and this one we're going to start with Manita. Regarding the unhoused in our area, what is the role? Oh, sorry. Regarding the unhoused in our area, what is the role of the Board of Supervisors for the city, for area nonprofits, and for philanthropy?
All right. So our Board of Supervisors are especially important to addressing the homelessness issue. And the homelessness issue is not just about the homeless people that you see. It's also homeless families, homeless children. and it includes, issues of mental health, substance abuse, lots of things. So, at this point, our Board of Supervisors, and I've got some numbers here, we have a $433 million budget with the Board of Supervisors, and we spent only 6.3 million on social services. That's 1.45%. Okay, that's not even 1.5%. And so a lot of the Board of Supervisors spending, is for Code Blue, which is only in the wintertime, only at night, and only when the temperatures are below 0 degrees Celsius. And all of this money actually comes from the state because the county is a pass-through. So the state funds the county funds the shelter for Code Blue. And I think, at this point, the county has put in $3 million, bought space. But it's important that they work with the nonprofits like Shelters and Rise to create the building, including private philanthropy, and keep it open not just for Code Blue, but Code Red for the hot days and summer times when it gets hot, so people can go there for cooling station, for water, for rest. The county can do more.
Okay, thank you. Sarah, you're next. I don't know if you want me to repeat the question or not.
Please, can you repeat it?
Okay. Regarding the unhoused in our area, what is the role of the Board of Supervisors for the city, for area nonprofits, and for philanthropy?
Okay, thank you. The county board is mandated to provide a Code Blue shelter and has been for quite a while now. We've had Code Blue in Saratoga Springs. It was initiated here back in 2014 under Mayor Yepsen, but that was before there was a mandate. The mandate has not been fulfilled, and we need to move forward as a county with doing so. The county has purchased land over on Ballston Avenue with the intention of doing so. And then the next step for the county is to negotiate a land lease with the Shelters of Saratoga and help bring that to fruition. We have a temporary location for a Rise Low Barrier Shelter, which the city is supporting, and which the city, quite frankly, just doesn't have the budget to support homelessness. The money for the stuff, even though they're doing it right now, it's not there. So we have to look for creative ways to address a very complex issue, and it is not one that I'm any expert in, and we have to rely on the experts in these local area not-for-profits to talk to us about the best ways to do so. But what we're doing right now is not sufficient by any stretch of the imagination, and it is a heavy burden on our city.
Thank you. George, you're next. You're on mute.
Thank you. I hate to do this, but the question's a little different than I expected. So can you say it one more time?
Absolutely. Yep. So regarding the unhoused in Saratoga Springs, what is the role of the Board of Supervisors for the city, for area nonprofits, and for philanthropy?
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I actually think both Manita and Sarah explained the role. And I cannot disagree that with Manita that the amount of money that the county is providing, while it is frankly pretty massive, that they put $3 million into purchasing the property on Ballston Ave to create the permanent Code Blue shelter. There is room for additional funding from the county, particularly for homelessness, which has already been articulated what the issues there are. It's a very, very complicated issue, multiple sources of funding, multiple service providers, and multiple needs recipients, as previously described. The question is, who's going to be able to actually get the county to sit up and listen? And I believe as a collaborator and with my experience and background, I will be able to drive change at the county to increase the funding, whether that be by finding it from other sources or by reallocating certain budgets. I'm not sure, but this is where we can't go down to the county and tell them what to do. We have to go down to the county and persuade, convince, and listen so we can appropriately bring back the resources for Saratoga Springs.
Okay, so Anita has her hand raised, so we'll take an additional minute and then Sarah will go afterwards. So Manita?
Yes, so I do want to point out, to start the question with, is that it's not a Saratoga Springs homelessness issue. This is an entire Saratoga County homelessness issue. All the people that we are serving today, even at the shelter in Saratoga Springs, paid for by the city, are not just Saratoga Springs residents, they're from all over the county. And honestly, in most places, the amount is that you should have at least 0.1% of space available for the homeless. We are nowhere close to that. I would recommend that the county build at least 100 beds and ideally 300 beds, because we are close to 250, we are over 250,000 people. And more importantly, we have reserves. We have $74 million in our county's fund balance to be able to pay for some of these services. We just spent $37 million on the airport. We can spend some amount of money to make sure that our homeless, our unhoused, are given the dignity of space.
Okay, Sarah?
Thank you. With respect to George's earlier response, this is, and I agree with Manita wholeheartedly, and that's what I've said throughout my campaign. This is a county issue, not just a city issue. And we're not telling or intending to tell the county anything. The state told the county that they have a mandate for Code Blue. That's not coming from any supervisor. That's the law, and that has to be complied with, and it hasn't been yet. And they're doing it, and that's good. We're on the path for Code Blue. However, that just isn't, I don't believe that's going to be sufficient. And I think this is a county issue, and I think if we talk more with supervisors and work collaboratively about why it's a county issue, because I don't know if those discussions have been had. I mean, supervisors, this isn't a Republican or a Democrat issue. This is a people issue, and we need to put people before politics and work towards a solution.
Okay, thank you. Next question, Sarah, we're going to start with you. What will you do to change discussions about bar closing times, given Saratoga Springs holds just 2 votes, but every other municipality benefits from our tax revenues from alcohol sales?
Thank you. This is probably my favorite topic and one of the ones I've talked the most about in my campaign thus far. This, again, is a county issue and not just a city issue. And we've worked on this in the city of Saratoga Springs for the last decade to try to advance this. As some may know, the County Board of Supervisors voted on a resolution earlier this spring, which unfortunately didn't pass. But there were 7 supervisors that were absent, so we have no idea how those supervisors would feel because they weren't there to vote. So it would be my goal, and it's one of my top priorities, to restart this conversation. I already have restarted this conversation with some supervisors to see if we can get the wheels turning to bring it back. Because if we look at data, this is a public safety issue for everyone. The use of force late at night, in the wee hours of the morning, goes up by over 50%. We have data on that in Saratoga Springs, and I'm sure we have all that publicly available at the county as well. Drinking and driving, we are 12th of 62 counties in New York State on the list. We've been as high as 2. That's not good. But how that's a county issue is Saratoga Springs is a tourism hub. We have more bars on any street. We used to be in the Guinness Book of World Records for more bars on any given street in the world, or something insane like that, which of course is Caroline Street. People enjoy our restaurants, our bars, and then they leave in their cars often.
Thank you. Next, George, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I'm okay
Okay.
with that. Yeah, I mean, it's insane that the bars stay open till 4 a.m. And it creates all types of public safety issues, strains our police, our first responders, and our hospital resources. I think a fairly simple economic argument can be made to the other county supervisors and get this passed once it's out of committee again. I am not so sure that I agree with Sarah that we don't know how those 7 that didn't show up would have voted. I think they didn't show up because they didn't want to vote. They didn't want to have that on their record. I personally know some of them, and I am 100% sure that if elected, I can convince enough of them to get us over the line and get these bars closed at a reasonable hour for all the reasons that have already been cited.
Thank you. Manita?
Yes, I agree. This is a big public safety issue. And it's something that we in Saratoga Springs at the city level have been working on these past 4 years. I've had lots of good conversations with Matt Weech, especially after the vote. There was the issue of the people who were absent. Some gave reasons that it was spring break and that's why they were absent. We don't know. There are lots of different theories right here. But, this is something that's important. It's something that I think Saratoga Springs is in a unique position to advocate for. And it's important that it get out of committee and onto the Board of Supervisors for a vote, and that we really speak to all the supervisors and get, the sheriff to come and talk about it, to get the city police chief to come and talk about it, the fire chief to come and talk about it. I know that the public safety commissioner went and advocated for this during the discussions about bar closing. I think the more that the Board of Supervisors hears from the public, from the people who are in the spaces, the hospitals, the police, the fire, the sheriff's office, and they see sort of the impact, right, between the bar closing, the drinking and driving, the bar closing, the hospital intakes and all of that. We are hoping that we can get this done, whoever is the next set of supervisors. It's a ball that Matt Weech has moved forward to the next set of people.
Okay. Next question. What are the most significant ways in which the actions of the county board affect the residents of Saratoga Springs? We're going to start with George.
Yeah, the county has a roughly $430 million budget. Homelessness is a big issue that the county funds, infrastructure and public safety, and this bar closing law and other, I'm sure there's a few other laws, but I've worked and am wholeheartedly endorsed by Matt Veach. He's explained a lot of the ways that the county has helped us in the past and a lot of the ways in which we need to advocate for the county to do more. But those are the 3 primary issues. I think that the arguments are pretty straightforward, but the question is, how do we get them across the finish line when it comes to talking to supervisors in the rest of the county who are extremely conservative and in many times don't view Saratoga Springs as a place that needs county help. Take homelessness, for example. We are the hub, but as said earlier, it is a countywide issue. A lot of the resources land up here, and therefore a lot of the homeless people wind up here, and therefore the funding should wind up here.
Thank you. Manita, next.
Do you mind repeating the question?
What are the most significant ways in which the actions of the county board affect the residents of Saratoga Springs?
Oh, the county has a significant impact on our health and human services, our immunizations, especially at a time when there are some issues nationally on immunizations. I think it's important that the county, fill in that role. Economic development, like I mentioned earlier, sewer systems is a big factor in economic development. And the county doing the sewer systems on South Broadway is going to see a huge boost in Saratoga Springs. County roads and maintenance, homelessness, obviously we've talked about already. The county also, one of the places that the county is not spending money is social services. We are ranked last in spending on social services. We spend about $1,800, and the next county up spends over $2,000 on social services per person. So we are dead last on this issue. And, this leads to things like elder abuse. We have more elderly people in Saratoga Springs than other places. Child abuse, so ensuring there's enough resources for child protective services to take care of kids in our neighborhoods. Tourism, right? The county can do a lot for tourism. SEDC, which is the economic development arm, IDAs, they bring businesses to Saratoga Springs and Saratoga County. All of these are critical, and they work all hand in hand together to make Saratoga Springs a thriving community.
Thank you. And Sarah.
Thank you. So the most significant ways that the board impacts residents, I believe was the question. Well, the residents feel certain things. So we feel taxes, and we need to keep our taxes low. I mean, we're living in a world where things like groceries and National Grid bills just seem to go up every day, every month. Expenses everywhere are going up. Our school taxes keep going up. City taxes and things like that. So we need to do what we can at the county to keep the county taxes low. And part of that is economic development. A large part of that is economic development and preserving our economic engines that exist in this county, in a county of tourism, not just racing and gaming, but our outdoor activities are really important. Our trails, our open space, Saratoga Lake, as a Saratoga Lake boater myself. We need to preserve these spaces to attract people to be here and spend money and keep us healthy. Oops, sorry, I was looking at my note. I can't read my own handwriting. Public safety, number 2, is probably the most significant and is the largest part of the budget, as always, like it is in the city. And that is why we have government to begin with. We have government to have and achieve public safety. And third would be our infrastructure, which Manita touched upon as well. Roads maintenance, bridges. I know there's a significant bridge project on the county's agenda.
Okay, next question, and we're going to start with Manita. Given the weighted form of voting in the Saratoga County Board of Supervisors, how would you try to protect and advance the interests of Saratoga Springs?
So, like I explained earlier, things have to go through committee. In the committee, there is one person, one vote, which means that if you are from the town of Day or Corinth or Hadley, your vote is the equivalent of Saratoga Springs vote, even though you may have less than 1,000 people in your town, and we have 28,000 in Saratoga Springs. We have the same vote. So there's a little bit of a discrepancy there because you have people who don't necessarily have the same issues voting on stuff that can stop something from happening, like bar closing times. So I think it's important that we advocate for one person, one vote. I think that there have been organizations looking at perhaps changing the form of government to a legislature instead of a board of supervisors. There are lots of things to look at to see how we can make sure that Saratoga Springs' voice is robust and is heard. I think that's really obviously working with all the supervisors and getting across our point of view is important. But heck, if Matt Veach couldn't convince them on bar closing times, then that's going to be hard for 2 newbies to do. So I think getting the conversation starting on one person, one vote is important.
Thank you. Sarah, next, would you like me to repeat the question? Oh, you're on mute, sorry.
Yes, please.
Okay. Given the weighted form of voting in Saratoga County Board of Supervisors, how would you try to protect and advance the interests of Saratoga Springs?
Well, it is true that it's one person, one vote in the committee structure, like Manita mentioned, and weighted vote at the county full board. I think in order to do this, that we really have to try to work together. I mean, I'm running for a seat on the county board as the county board of supervisors exists, you know, with that structure. You know, I think you have to do the best you can to work with others, to be collaborative. And it really will, you know, that's really the best way to do it. I don't think we're going to be able to go in there and make structural changes to the county board or to their rules right off the clip. But I think I would like to see, and I do question the constitutionality of whether or not one person, one vote is really okay. Because I would think that the weighted vote should apply across the board, especially given the significance that it is to the entire county. Yeah, I guess that's the answer to my question.
George?
Yeah, I think I don't think anytime soon we're going to change the rules about how people vote at the county level. So we have to accept the fact that there is weighting across the county. The weighting right now, as much as I hate partisanship, is 83% of the county is controlled by Republican votes. That's why I think it's absolutely critical that we send a mixed pair of people down to the county so that we can work collaboratively to figure out how to convince a very strong Republican majority and a very conservative county to support the needs of a Democratic city like Saratoga Springs.
Okay. Thank you. The next question is also regarding weighted voting, and we're going to start with Sarah. The League of Women Voters is conducting a study about different forms of county supervisors' governance. What are your thoughts about our current form of weighted voting on the Board of Supervisors? Specifically, how smaller towns with smaller populations can outweigh votes from larger towns?
I guess this sounds very similar to the question we just answered, but yeah, so to reiterate, I mean, I do think I question it. I don't know the answer to that. You know, is there a constitutionality issue there? I think it's something to look at and discuss, but there are other county boards, you know, supervisor boards in the state, including our neighbors to the north. And I think they operate using the same structure in the committees. So you know, I don't know that there's any actual problem with it, but it may just not be you know, fair. I mean, I don't know that it is. I mean, why would you know, why does why would one smaller town have such a you know, have a greater voice in deciding what the full county board votes on? But like I said, I don't think we're changing it anytime soon. I agree with George. That's just not going to happen, and we just have to work together and do the best we can and advocate for our city.
Thank you. George, next. I don't know if you want me to repeat the question or.
Yes, please do.
Okay. The League of Women Voters is conducting a study about the different forms of county supervisor governance. What are your thoughts about our current form of weighted voting on the Board of Supervisors? Specifically, how smaller towns with smaller populations can outweigh votes from larger towns?
Yeah, okay. So it is a highly similar question to the previous one. I think the biggest thing we have to keep in mind is that two of the 21 municipalities in the county, Clifton Park and Saratoga Springs, have got 2 representatives, which means our votes are split, even though we're the biggest city. Now, fortunately, and I see no problem with this going forward either, I will be able to get along with my other supervisor, and we're going to be able to vote as a block. That has not changed the fact that Half Moon, which has one supervisor, has 20,000 votes or something along those lines. They've got an unbelievably overweighted amount of influence. It's not fair. It's not changing. You can study it all day long. It could change in the future, but it's not changing the 2-year term that we're looking at here.
Thank you. Manita?
I think having served on city council, I see the issue a little differently. So the issue is not what can we do in the next 2 years. The issue is more aspirational. What should we be attempting to make changes for? What is it that the future should hold for the county? And I think these are important decisions because we could be laying the pathway to change. And so I absolutely support weighted voting. I think, like I said, if Saratoga Springs has 28,000 people, then our weighted voting should count because, if one person from our city deserves the one vote on the committee, not one person from Day and one person from Saratoga is equal vote. That's not what I'm saying. The second thing is Half Moon has 27,000 plus people and has a significant say in this whole process. And, at one point there was discussion of dividing that into 2 votes as well. I think it's important we study the different forms of governance. We are at present, I believe, the largest county that has the Board of Supervisors form of government. Albany County has a legislature, Schenectady County has a legislature. We can move to that. And this is not just something that, we're looking at short term. This is something that's going to have a long-term impact, and we should not rush into it, but it is something we should aspire to.
Thank you. Next question, we're going to start with George. What could you do if the National Guard is sent to Saratoga Springs?
The National Guard, not ICE. Let me make sure I'm clear of that.
Right, not ICE.
I think that communities should be able to police themselves. In the event that federal law enforcement comes here, as we've already seen in San Francisco and LA and Chicago, it is unfortunately not an easy situation. Meaning even those cities with very strong governors and mayors have been unable to actually control what's happened there. I would vociferously push against it. But what can we do if the federal government starts to overstep? Protest, argue, lawsuits, whatever we can do to resist is what we do. But policing should be a local and hyper-regional issue and a state issue. It should not be a federal issue
Thank you.
across state.
Thank you. Manita?
Sorry, I was writing down my thoughts. So this is a scary issue, especially as an immigrant, who is naturalized, who is brown. I'm constantly worried about my safety in these times. Now, keep in mind, if the National Guard is coming, what the Trump administration is saying is that our city police, our county police, our state police are inadequate in keeping peace in our neighborhoods and our community. I can't imagine this happening, but George has been talking about the entire time how he, as a Republican, can work with other Republican members. I think this is the time when, as a Democrat, I can work with the state legislature, with the governor's office to, do all the steps that we can to protest this. But finally, at the end of the day, Saratogians have to get on the streets and protest it peacefully, respectfully, question respectfully why there is the presence there. What is this presence gaining? People have been doing this with ICE raids everywhere, where they are filming it, recording it, making sure that the world knows what is happening. I think these are dangerous times that we are living in, and it's important that we take all steps possible to protect each other and to let the world know what is happening.
Sarah?
Thank you. I can't imagine why the National Guard would need to come into Saratoga Springs. I really can't. Our police, city police, county sheriffs, our New York State troopers, they're just some of the best in the world. We do a great job here, policing in Saratoga County. Overall, every place has their problems, but overall, we really have A+. But there's a lot of things that are going on in this world right now and that we see on TV and that even have happened here at our doorstep that I find unimaginable. So ICE has been here with their masks on. So I guess even though I can't imagine it, it could happen. As an elected representative, it is our job to advocate for our constituents and for our community. And even though on the County Board of Supervisors, we won't have a direct vote or role in those decisions to bring in the National Guard or not bring in the National Guard, I don't believe, we need to be asking questions about why are they here and how did this happen, and work with our state and federal leaders and get them involved and be a voice. I mean, that is our job as elected officials, is to be a voice for the community.
Okay, this question is similar, and we're going to start with Medita. What would you do, what could you do if ICE is sent to Saratoga?
This is not a if question. This is it is already happening question. I want to give an example of my son. He goes to a local public school here, elementary school, and there was a kid in his classroom whose father, the family had asylum here. They had papers here. The father and mother went to an scheduled asylum meeting. The father was detained and deported eventually. So this is something that's happening here. The father worked in a local restaurant here in Saratoga Springs downtown. The mother worked at a local restaurant here downtown. These are people who are in our schools, in our communities, and they are our communities are being hurt by this. And like I said, this is the time for honesty and transparency. We need to make sure that when ICE comes, we are asking the questions. Why are you here? Why are you detaining this person? We are recording it. The citizens have played a big role in ICE backing off in certain cases. There have been citizens who have been detained. I have started carrying my naturalization certificate photo with me because I am worried that they may detain me, and they are picking up people off the street sometimes. So these are real worries, and we have, as a city council, helped Paul Tonko when he was looking for support at his Batavia visit.
Thank you. Sarah?
Thank you. Yeah, with respect to ICE, I mean, I guess I started down that path in my last answer, but yeah, I mean, as a representative on the county board, again, we don't have control necessarily, we don't over ICE being here or not being here, but we, like Manita said, but we know they are and have been, and it has affected our members of the community. And it does continuously, and it does, there's fear, in folks, and that is, not what we want around here in our community. We need to help provide people with resources. I mean, I think as elected officials, to the extent I can help provide constituent services and direct individuals to perhaps seek legal help through attorneys that do practice immigration law. I'd be happy to do that, and help educate the public about what their rights are. Some people don't know what their rights are. They're unsure. So I think that to the extent we can, again, be a voice, help work with our other elected leaders, Congressman Tonko, who of course has been active on these issues, our US senators, our governor, whoever we can talk to, and again, be that voice and advocate for our community.
Thank you. George?
Yeah, I think again, and I hate to sound like a broken record here and repeat what Sarah and Manita have already said, but it is not the role of the county to control ICE. That said, everybody that's in this country, the minute they enter this country, is entitled to due process. No one should be getting carted away without due process of law. And the overreach is terrible, and the mask and lack of identification, as I've seen them, are all terrible. So what can we do? Same as the last answer. We can protest, we can argue, and we can make the best possible arguments we can to our federal officials to try to rein this in, because it's absolutely not right.
Thank you. Anita, you wanted to respond? You have 1 minute.
I don't want to respond. I just want to talk more about this issue because
Oh,
it's
okay.
an important issue that personally impacts me, and I understand. As an immigrant, I can tell you every single person, my ancestors, not my ancestors, your ancestors, me, who came here to this country came for a better future. Nobody leaves where they are if they have a great life there. I came here because I was a gay person in 1980s India, and it was unsafe for me. And I wanted a life where I could get married and fall in love and have children. And I got all of that here, and I'm super grateful for it. But even from an economic perspective, ICE rates hurt businesses. ICE rates hurt restaurant businesses. ICE rates hurt bars. They hurt farmlands. A lot of farmlands use immigrant labor. ICE raids hurt backstretch workers and our racing industry and our tourism. So these raids are not good for Saratoga County. And I think it's something that we should, do our best to advocate to the Trump administration not to do, especially in Saratoga.
Thank you. Okay, next, let's see, we're going to start with Sarah. What do you feel are your qualifications for this elected position, and what makes you believe you would make a good supervisor representing Saratoga Springs?
Thank you. I believe that I am qualified for the position of county supervisor because of my experience as an attorney and a lobbyist, and as a lifelong member of Saratoga Springs community and a business owner. I have worked professionally with folks from every political affiliation, successfully to pass landmark legislation. In 2019, I was instrumental in drafting and lobbying for the amendments to the New York State Human Rights Law. That was unanimously passed in the New York State Senate. Every Republican voted for it. Every Democrat voted for it. I think there were 2 members of the New York State Assembly, and I won't call out who, that were Republican and voted against it. So we did not get it unanimously passed in the Assembly. Okay, I failed. But in the State Senate, we did. And that's no easy thing to do. We were mandating sexual harassment training, and business people did not like to hear that. But we spent about 4 years total working on it. And I believe with my skills and the understanding that you're not going to get instant gratification necessarily on issues, but you work on it one bit at a time. And you have to be able to discuss the issues openly and candidly with people and work together. And then eventually you can get it done.
Thank you. George?
Yeah, first off, I want to say I've lived all around the world. I've seen good communities and bad communities. I've seen great communities become bad communities, or I shouldn't say bad, but become less desirable virtually overnight. It takes decades to grow. it takes a short period of time to hurt your brand. I understand this, and as a collaborator, I do believe that I will be able to articulate those issues. Um, Rightly or wrongly, our county is 83% controlled by Republicans. And if we don't send a split ticket down or pair of people, one from the Democrats, one from the Republicans, we're going to have a very hard time advocating um, for the good of the city. And so I don't want to say that my party affiliation is the number one thing. I think my collaboration, my brains, my experience, my ability to get things done through collaboration is really what the answer is. But the fact that me and one of the other two would be going down as a dual party representation would be the best thing for Saratoga Springs.
Thank you. And Manita.
Sorry, do you mind repeating the question?
Yes. What do you feel are your qualifications for this elected position, and what makes you believe you would make a good supervisor representing Saratoga Springs?
Well, first of all, having served on the Saratoga Springs Library Board for 5 years and Saratoga Springs City Council now for 4 years, I really understand the city issues. During my state Senate campaign last year, I traveled all over Saratoga County, and I really understand county issues really well at this point too. The other piece is, like I said, I'm the only candidate here who has a proven track record of real results. There are lots of issues that I want to work on, from homelessness, affordable housing, supportive housing, veterans housing, environmental initiatives. This is a really good example. So when I started in Saratoga Springs, I promised that we would go from a bronze city with the New York State climate smart communities to silver. And next year, with the last bit of our credits coming in, we will be getting to silver. So this is a promise that I made, and we had really great initiatives, like we bought back 2,500 streetlights, converted them to LEDs. This not only saved the city money, but also was fewer emissions, more environmentally better. The county, Saratoga County, is not even registered with the New York State Climate Smart Communities. We are literally leaving money on the table by not registering, because the county is doing environmental initiatives. I would love to do more. Composting. So Warren County just got $250,000 to do more food waste composting. We can do here at Saratoga too.
Thank you. Okay. George, did you want to
Yeah,
add
I'd
on?
just like to add, I would like to add to my reply. With regard to public service, no, I've never been in an elected position. I actually think that's a good thing. You look at the bipartisan bickering, obviously at the local level, which doesn't belong here at all, but also at the national level. My goal is going to be to tamp that down. But also, I want to point out that I have been an active member of a variety of community nonprofits, including Saratoga Plan, including the Sobro Conservancy, the Saratoga Sponsor Scholar, where I was a mentor, and the Rotary Scholarship Fund, all of which are either helping open space or helping lift up those with lesser means to achieve their goals in life. So I do have a great amount of experience, and I don't think this is only in Manita's corner, as she would have you believe.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so it's time for closing statements. You will have 1 minute each, no more. And the first to speak will be Manita.
Hello again, and thank you for this incredible forum. It was great to hear from Sarah and George. Again, I have been called the voice of reason on the city council table often. This is largely because, whether it's 5 Dems or 2 Dems on the city council, I have been able to, sorry, this is my alarm. My son puts alarms on ours to go to sleep and stuff, so sorry. It's his bedtime. So whether it's difficult situations, tumultuous situations, I've been able to focus on governance. I've been able to get things done, and I've been able to provide real results to our community, whether that's the first ever homeless shelter, fire station, and there's a lot to do at the county. My focus is to ensure that all Saratogians get a voice at the county, and I hope to earn your vote. And I respectfully ask for it this November.
Thank you. Sarah?
Thank you again to the league and to the other candidates for participating this evening. Again, yeah, I am a Democrat. I'm running to be Saratoga Springs County Supervisor, and I promise to work with others with all supervisors, regardless of their party. We need to turn down the political rhetoric. There's so much of it in City Hall, at the city council table. It's, screaming at us nationally all the time. We need to focus on the local issues, focus on what's important to Saratogians. And on that note, my top priorities as part of my campaign that I've been discussing are advocating and working to make sure we keep our taxes low, because we're facing skyrocketing expenses and costs everywhere. This is something we all feel as Saratogians. We need to work on housing opportunities, finalizing the mandate for Code Blue, getting the shelter bill, finding more permanent solutions, strengthening public safety. Thanks so much.
Thank you. And George, last but not least. Sorry.
Thank you. Well, I think the choice is clear here. I am, as much as my two competitors are incredibly qualified and knowledgeable on the issues, I am the best person to foster and maintain relationships with the county. I've got a proven track record of collaboration, and I am a firmly bipartisan candidate. And I'm going to listen to all sides of an issue. My service as a community via my volunteer work exemplifies my commitment to both the natural habitat and to lifting up our less privileges. I've already started to build these relationships with other county supervisors so I can hit the ground running. Matt Veach has not only endorsed me, he's also assured me his continued support on matters that he is so knowledgeable. These relationships will ensure that I can deliver to Saratoga on day one. I also believe strongly in the mantra, city over party. And I'm going to leave it with the words of JFK, I think are the most inspiring president we've ever had. Let us not seek Republican or Democratic answers, but let us seek the right answer. And that is the way that I will serve Saratoga Springs and this county each and every day.
Thank you.
And I can
Thank you.
laugh. So that was good.
Thank you. I want to thank the candidates for participating in this event and helping educate the voters. And I also want to thank the public for submitting questions and all the viewers who have taken time to watch this event and learn about the candidates. Don't forget to vote. Early voting starts Saturday, October 25th and goes through Sunday, November 2nd. There's multiple locations in Saratoga County. Hours are Monday and Wednesday, 12 to 8 p.m. All other days are 9 to 5. Election day is Tuesday, November 4th. The polls are open from 6 in the morning till 9 p.m. You can find your voting location and information about early or absentee ballots by calling the Board of Elections of Saratoga County, or go on their website or use the league's vote411.org. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.